Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
Oh, all kinds of pain medication. All kinds of it. Actually, it's just the one kind. Man, you know, it really is interesting. It really is kind of a fascinating thing. If you and I haven't been talking about this, I have this weird thing where I think I'm not quite over it yet. I'm getting there, but I was diagnosed with walking pneumonia. So they pumped me full of antibiotics and inhalers and cough suppressants and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And I woke up the following day with a pain in my ankle, like I'd sprained it, like I'd rolled it, like I'd really done a number on it. Now, I've messed up this ankle a lot of times. A lot. I've done numerous stupid things on motorcycles, skateboards, and even pogo sticks. You ever have a pogo stick growing up? I had one. I love that thing. And I never found out what the world record was. This is pre-internet when stuff like this wasn't readily available to us. But I figured I had a decent shot at it because me and my friend spent the entire summer competing on a pogo stick, being like, who could get the most jumps? And we got up to thousands. I mean, these turns would take forever. And we would talk and we would jump on the pogo stick and then one of us would fall off and it would be over and you'd start all over again. But I got really good on that pogo stick thing. And in my mind, I was going for a world record. I think in every kid's mind, the moment they become good at anything at all, they're going for a world record. But I could do it with one hand, with no hands, with hands behind my back. It was this whole thing, and I was convinced I was going to go for a world record, and then my pogo stick broke, and I was like, oh, man, all right, well, I guess I'll do something else now. So fixated on this pogo sticking world record. Yet, the moment the pogo stick broke, my young idiot brain went, what else is there to do around here? And you never know. Had I been more focused as a lad, I could be now the world record holder for most pogo stick jumps. Although I saw a world record holder, a pogo stick world record holder on TV once, and it wasn't so much the number of jumps that they did, but the distance that they traveled. Like this one guy traveled, I don't know, halfway around the world on a pogo stick. But I'd done enough stupid stuff on BMXs and motorcycles and skateboards and my pogo stick to have sprained this ankle a bazillion times. And I woke up feeling exactly like that. And I was like, no, I just went to bed and I woke up in pain. And by the end of the day, I couldn't even walk. And I was like, well, this is not normal. This level of pain is something where I want to saw off my own leg just so I don't have to deal with it anymore. That's not normal. Some of the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life. So go to the emergency room. They go, that's peculiar. They did some x-rays. They took some blood. They determined it wasn't gout. Didn't really have an answer as to what it was. Maybe tendinitis or something like that. Or how it happened. But they were awfully quick to offer me opioid painkillers. And I was like, no, I'll be good. No, thanks. And the nurse was like, you're the first person ever to refuse that. We're just going to write you a prescription just in case the pain gets too unbearable. I'm like, I will not be using them. Instead, I'm on like industrial strength anti-inflammatories. And it's not that I'm worried of getting addicted to them. I've taken stuff like that before when I've been in some kind of pain, when I'm recovering from something. And boy, that messes with your day. So I declined them. Said, no, thank you. Go back to the doctor the next day. Be like, yo, this is really a problem. I'm in serious pain. And one doctor went, well, you're a freak of nature. You'll get over it. I was like, are you sure? I'm not trying to say that I doubt you, but I'm doubting the hell out of you right now. Is there someone else in here? Maybe someone that specializes in areas of the body below the knee? And I'm like, well, fine. Okay. Yeah. All right. Whatever. Sure. If it'll make you happy, fine. Other doctor comes in and goes, what, you can't put any weight on it at all? I was like, no. He's like, well, this is not normal. I'm like, really? He's like, no, it's not normal at all. He's like, you're thin enough. I was like, thank you for calling me thin. He's like, no, you're thin enough that this shouldn't happen. And he was like, have you been on any long plane flights recently? And I was like, well, yeah. Last month I went to Austria to visit my dad. And he went, you got to get back to the emergency room right now. You might die. How does the story end? Well, I'm still here, so that's something.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So I got walking pneumonia. And inexplicably, I get terrible pain in my ankle. Like I've sprained it really badly. Except I didn't do anything except go to sleep. I get sent to the emergency room by a doctor. One doctor looked at me and went, you're a freak of nature. Who knows? Just ice and elevate. It'll probably get better. I'm like, I don't know if I'm being clear to you the level of pain. I'm not a crybaby. This really, really hurt. There's feels like there's something wrong or something could be wrong. Could you maybe get another doctor in that sort of specializes in areas of the body below the knee or something like that? And they're all fine. Okay, sure, whatever. Other doctor comes in, looks at it, goes, you're too young and thin for anything that this could possibly be. Have you been on any long plane trips recently? I went, well, yeah, I went to Austria to see my dad a little while ago, and that took like, I don't know, 28, 29 hours. He's like, did you get up and walk around? I was like, well, I did, but you're still not that much. He was like, how often? I was like, once or twice during the flight. And he was like, you got to go to the hospital right now. I was like, why? He's like, because you need to get tests run. No! This could be, well, he's like, it could be something like deep vein thrombosis. It could be blood clots. Either of which, if they catch it in time, not a problem. But if they don't catch it in time, you die. So go to the hospital right now. I was like, right now? He's like, yes, now. So I'm sitting there in the emergency room. And, by the way, I don't know how much time you've spent in emergency rooms. I've been in and out of them my fair share. Like I said, did a lot of stupid things on skateboards. Did a lot of stupid things on motorcycles and pogo sticks. But this is the first time I've spent much time in an emergency room since I kind of sort of became a grown-up. And boy, it really puts you in touch with other people's lives, with mortality, your own and those of people around you, and the work situations of people around you. I'm lucky I have health insurance. I'm sure I'm going to have to pay something, but I don't know what that's going to be. I know I'll be able to handle it. But if you go in, you could be stuck with a bill for just untold amounts of money. My ankle had 2 different types of scans done on it. CAT scans, ultrasounds, bunch of different x-rays done on both my chest and my ankle, just to make sure it wasn't something of a congestive heart failing nature. Numerous blood tests done. All this stuff. I was in a hospital bed. I don't know what a hospital stay costs, but I'm going to go out on a limb and guess it's substantial. And I'm fortunate enough to have a job where, as much as my ankle's killing me and I'm all hopped up on meds, even though I'm not hopped up, it's just that, like, like I said, I refuse to take the Norco. I refuse to take the narcotics. Not because I think I'm going to get addicted to them, but because they just make the next day horrible for me when I've taken them in the past. So I'm on these industrial strength, basically, versions of Advil. So much ibuprofen in them. And my ankle feels like it's on fire. I think it'll be fine. It appears to be getting better. Their best guess is that maybe I re-aggravated one of the many old injuries, but because it coincided with my pneumonia, they're like, this could be heart stuff, this could be congestive heart stuff, this could be blood clots, this could be deep vein thrombosis, all of which can be fatal when not looked after, so you better get to the hospital right away. And I wasn't forced to make a decision. I wasn't forced to ride it out. Go, how much do you think it's this? And then decide whether or not I was going to go in for treatment. Decide whether or not I was going to go to a doctor that I couldn't afford, didn't have insurance for. And I've got this job where I can sit here talking to you on my butt, as I am entirely too much of the day. And I can get done, and I can make money, and I can have a life that continues despite my ankle being all jacked up. For all intents and purposes, I've got a desk job. But it made me think, as I looked around me, made me think about people that don't do that. Made me think about waiters, folks that work construction, people whose jobs require them to be on their feet, people whose jobs require them to be mobile, people who don't know what their healthcare picture is, people who don't have insurance, people who can't afford insurance, people who are going to be in a deeper hole because not only do they not have the insurance they need to pay for the treatment that they're getting, but also the fact that they jacked up their ankle is going to take them out of the game. The pressure that must put on someone. The pressure that must put on someone who's counting on you. It's an eye-opening experience being around people in an emergency room. I hope you don't have to do it anytime soon. But if you do, and if you pay attention to what's going on around you, there's a good chance it's going to change you.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
So being in an emergency room really made me wonder. What do people do? What do people do when they don't have insurance? Especially my situation of being in an emergency room. It's one thing to find out you got walking pneumonia. But my ankle, which flared up for no good reason, couldn't figure it out. And it's probably just the re-irritation. Well, there's option one, which is what I got my fingers crossed for. Option one is it's the re-irritation of something stupid I did on a skateboard when I was a knuckleheaded kid. Or option two, and this one's significantly less fun, it could be some sort of an infection of the joint, and that's going to require surgery where they cut me open and clean out the joint and put me on IV antibiotics. And yeah, hopefully it's not that. How one even gets an infection of the ankle, I don't know. It was explained to me, but I couldn't be sure. But the one thing I was sure of is seeing the people come in, overhearing just enough to know what's going on. really, and maybe I just wanted to take my mind off of like the fact that I was ready to cut my own leg off so I wouldn't experience the ankle pain anymore, because it was crazy, absolutely bananas. I don't think I'd ever felt pain like that in my life. And it's so stupid because I didn't have a freaking thing to blame it on. Every other time I was in pain, I had the most awesome story. Going back to when I was a little kid, oh man, I fell out of like 8 trees. Oh man, check this out. I rode my motorcycle through a barbed wire fence. True, this actually happened. Oh man, I was trying to jump the fire hydrant and I broke my collarbone. Nothing good, and I can't remember the comedian who said this, but it basically summed up my childhood. Nothing good ever came from 2 kids going, hey, let's build a ramp. But I didn't have any like gnarly stories to go with the scar and the pain and the crutches. It's just, yeah, I went to sleep and now it hurts like you wouldn't freaking believe. So frustrating. But it really made me think, So many people go without the option of health care, without health insurance. I knew this one guy, he literally broke his arm. And he was like, I don't have insurance or money to go to the doctor right now. I'm just putting Tiger Balm on it. And I was like, that's like deep heat. And he's like, yeah, that'll probably sort it out. I'm like, dude, the thing's broken. I can see it's broken. # not a doctor, but it's broken. You should do something about that. And he was like, well, I can't afford to do anything about that right now. I was like, if you don't do something about like that right now, it's going to be a problem. It will be some like, just let me take you to the emergency room. And as it turns out, I was ready to kick in for this guy's emergency room visit, but as it turned out, he was able to get it covered through his parents' health insurance. But he didn't know, he didn't have the option, and because he didn't think he could afford to get his broken arm looked after, he was ready to treat it at home with Tiger Balm, deep heat, and maybe an ace bandage. And this guy had a job involving, well, he was a great guitar player, but really his job was working at a bar. It involved heavy use of his arm. And he was panicked. He was like, I won't be able to work. I can't, if I go to the doctor, I'm going to have a bill that I won't be able to pay for because I can't work. So I'm just going to ride it out and put ointment on my broken arm. I thought, what must it be like for someone who not only has a body that goes out, because it's one thing you can say, I'll be careful at work. I won't trip. I won't slip. I'll take good care of myself. I'm not going to have an accident. I'm not going to get in a car wreck. I'm not going to. But what if you're like me? You wake up and it just hurts and you can't put any weight on it. You can't walk. You want to go wait tables? No, you can't do that. You want to go do construction? No, you can't do that. You want to go be a bartender? No, you can't do that. And the fact that people don't have access to health care in this country blows my ever-loving mind. And I know there's places you can go. There are places you can go. A buddy of mine went to Ben Taub in Houston. I don't know if you're familiar with the area, and I don't know if every city has a hospital like this, but they don't turn anyone away, and it's a public hospital. It's weird that right in the middle of, and it's not a pretty place. It is underfunded, it is dirty, and you're going to be waiting a long time, but they will see you. A friend of mine had a stroke and got treated at this place, Ben Taub. And he didn't have any health insurance, and it all worked out. But I don't know how many people know that they've got the option of doing that sort of thing. I don't know how many people know that there's that hospital in their city or their town that they can depend on. And the idea that people go through life not knowing, risking their life, not knowing. I know another person that died because they didn't go get something they thought was kind of simple looked after. They were older. They didn't have health insurance. And they thought, it's just a cold. It was congestive heart failure and it killed them. And it didn't have to. but they didn't have health insurance. So they didn't go to the hospital. And when you're in an emergency room, gosh, it puts you in touch with other people's lives. You hear that fear, that worry. Sitting one row of seats away from a man, explaining to someone on the phone, yeah, we don't know what happened. She said she was feeling okay, going out for a walk. She went out for a little walk, came back in, and then I thought she'd fallen asleep with her head on the table. I tried to wake her, couldn't. Thought she'd gone into a diabetic coma. Tried to administer CPR. None of that worked, and now we're here at the hospital, and it's touch and go. This was this guy's wife explaining to her family members over the phone that she might not be around past today. That he hoped it would just be something they laughed about in a couple of months. And again, I overheard him going, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe we would. Let me just see what this winds up costing. If you want to help, maybe we can work something out. And I guess I don't really know what I'm trying to say. Except for the fact that spend some time in an emergency room with your ears even half open. And you're going to immediately be put in touch with the struggles of your fellow human being. You're going to get a little bit of insight into the stories of their lives. And sometimes you're going to get a little bit of insight into the stories of how their lives may end. Sometimes you're going to hear about people that got hurt very badly doing something stupid. Hospital bed, next room over, hearing a man cry out, screaming that a nurse had to give him something for the pain. And the nurse, in an exasperated voice, going, "You have to tell me what you took. You have to tell me what you took." And him going over and over again, "I didn't take anything. I didn't take anything." The nurse knew. He did. He did something to himself. And then you have folks like me. My pain, hey, it didn't result showing up as something that could ultimately kill me, so that's good. But it did come from out of nowhere. Through no fault of my own. Really, best I can tell. Like I said, maybe I did some stupid stuff on skateboards as a kid and re-irritated it. But people are going through struggles every single day. And hearing just a little bit, a fraction of the story of their lives is a great reminder that not only do we not know everything about the people that we meet, we oftentimes know nothing about them. And so I guess it's a great reminder that I had recently that I want to pass on to you. It's a great reminder to be kind. When in doubt, always be kind. Because everyone you meet is going through something that you know nothing about. Funkhouser is going through something that we know nothing about. You are traveling across the country in an RV with 4 other dudes. How's that working out for you?
What a lead-in. Thank you so much for that. Jeez, holy guacamole. Well, my life's a lot better now.
Oh, good. Glad to hear it.
In comparison, man. No, things are good. I'm in Blythe right now, Blythe, California, which is like the
What's Blythe?
last Californian city before Arizona.
Didn't you pass that like Salton Sea place or whatever it is like that? Like, isn't that where people go to live off the grid? Blythe.
Yeah, there's a lot of farming out there too, which doesn't make any sense because it's in the middle of like the desert. I went past Stagecoach as it was happening, and
What, the Stagecoach Festival?
yeah, in Coachella. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Coachella's still going?
It's well, they do it at the same place. They do Stagecoach at the same place. So I was going there the same weekend. I passed through the city while a bunch of country was happening. And
Have you been to any of those? Have you been to like Stagecoach or Bonnaroo or Coachella or any of those that like or what's the big one? Burning Man?
I went to Coachella twice. God, even just saying that makes me feel like a giant. I went to Coachella twice and I camped once.
Uh-huh.
I saw Prince. That was really cool.
Oh, see, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. I mean, I don't know anything about any of these things. Like when all these festivals started popping up, first and foremost, if you grow up in England, that kind of festival has existed forever. Glastonbury, Reading Festival, things like that. You know, like 200,000 people in a field watching all different types of music. It was a concept that was sort of new in America. Like Lollapalooza was this thing that looked at Euro festivals and thought, we're going to do something like that. And Lollapalooza, I think, was the first one. And I guess the whole concept, like I said, that's how I grew up. So like, oh my God, there's going to be all these bands and all these DJs and all these things to do in one place. It's going to be epic. I was like, that sounds cool. Maybe I'll get to it. And now the idea sounds sort of, I don't know, like just from the outside looking in without ever having gone to Coachella or Bonnaroo or anything like that. Yeah.
Did you hear about the Fire Festival? Do you hear about that? Oh, man.
Ja Rule's Fire Festival, and like everybody bailed on it because there was no equipment. It was on like in some island in the Caribbean, right? And they promised like these gourmet meals, and they were like literally cheese sandwiches, like a hamburger bun with like 3 slices of cheese on it. Like everybody was tweeting this stuff. The one thing they did have was internet access, but then so like they're trapped on this private island. Everything's going to hell. Their luxury accommodations are not even like tents. They're sort of like survivalist lean-tos. Like they didn't have. It's just the craziest thing that you have ever seen. It really, really failed to deliver in every possible way. And people paid so much money for these tickets, and it was just bananas. And then they're on this island, and they started running out of food. And apparently, festival goers that paid like thousands of dollars to be there on a private island for this festival that was supposed to be the greatest, most exclusive thing ever, started fighting over the remaining provisions. It went from like glamorous festival to Lord of the Flies, lickety freaking split.
You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away.
Now, more AD on the radio.
You know, Funkhouser?
What?
I would say that everything that happened over the weekend, or the last week, the walking pneumonia, the jacked up ankle, the battery of tests. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like it all came from out of nowhere.
You think
and
it's
it
all
was
connected?
like, no, I don't know. I've got no idea. But like, I'm knocking on wood, feeling confident that everything's gonna be okay. For a second there, it was the inconvenience of it. Like the doctor was like, you got to go to the hospital. I was like, now? I kind of got stuff to do. He's like, now. And I was like, but he was like, now, or you could die. I was like, fine. And like, it's irritating. And it's irritating to not be able to like put weight on a foot. It's hard opening up doors with crutches. It's hard carrying my lunch into work with me. It's hard. Like the studio doors are really freaking heavy. And it's annoying more than anything else. And look, hopefully it wasn't deep vein thrombosis. Hopefully it wasn't that. And I think they've ruled all that stuff out. And the imminent death part of the equation seems to have gone away. So that's all well and good. But I think I would call this my first real wake-up call. You know what I mean? You know, that the sort of, because...
Well, yeah, it happens when you least expect it, right?
I guess, I don't know, like the doctor who diagnosed me with walking pneumonia was like, hey, you don't breathe. I was like, what? They're like, you've got no oxygen in your blood. And yeah, but I was like, well, I got really bad at allergies and asthma and stuff. And she's like, do you do anything about it? I was like, no. And she's like, well, here's the thing. If you don't get oxygen into your bloodstream, that's no good. So you gotta start doing something about that when you can't breathe. Don't overuse your inhaler, but use it sometimes, you know, because oxygen is important. What do you eat like? And I was like, crap. They're like, well, your body could be fighting. Your body could be fighting infection, and that's why your heart rate's so elevated, and that's why your blood pressure's a little high. But how many hours a day do you work? And I was like, 14 to 16, give or take. Uh-huh. How much exercise do you get? Well, I used to exercise all the time. You want to see a picture of me from 3 years ago? Boy, was I in shape. No. What do you do now? I was like, kind of sort of nothing. Nothing. I was just like, I walk my dog for about a mile a day, half mile a day, you know, like much as Millhouse wants to do. And she was like, okay, so let me get this straight. You work 16 hours a day, you eat like crap, and you don't exercise. At your age, I was like, I'm not, like, come on, like not even 40 yet. And she was like, at your age, this could be pre-hypertension. I was like, what? What the hell huh? She's like, yeah. And my dad freaked out because he was like, I was diagnosed with pneumonia once, and it was a mixed diagnosis, and it turned out to be my heart. You have to look after yourself. Like, you have to. And I was like, I'll never forget. Trying to buy a house right now. Like, I've rented for a while, and like, that's just so stupid. And I'm trying, but like, the market's so hard, and like, it's really difficult, and I didn't want to miss out on a place that I was trying to get. And it was just, and there's all this stress because you go like, do I really, the guy that gives me the mortgage says I can afford this, but I don't feel like I can afford this. So there's all this stuff that you're thinking about. And then you're in this competitive situation trying to get a house. And my dad said something to me that I'll never forget. He was like, yeah, there's other houses, but there's only one you. And I was just like, huh. Well, that sounds a little self-important, but point well taken. And look, all this appears to be nothing. My heart rate, when I went back to the emergency room, was as it should be. I was like, doesn't look like pre-hypertension? They're like, no. But, you know, from what we know about your medical history, other than, you know, the pneumonia and the fact that you can't move your ankle, you seem to be in really good health. I was like, well, that's refreshing. They're like, you shouldn't be. And if you keep up like this, you're not going to be. So you're going to have to start doing things like sleeping and exercising and managing stress, because this will kill people. You won't make it as long as you think you're going to make it if you keep living like this. And I suppose it was my first real wake-up call. I don't know when people usually get those, but I think I just got mine this past weekend, just gone by, Funkhouser. And well, it's a weird one because you kind of look at your mortality and go, oh yeah, that's real. That's a thing.
Are you going to buy a convertible now?
No. Well, here's what I want to do. I've got to make some positive health changes in my life, and this sounds right up my street. The napper-size exercise. It involves going to a gym and exercising by taking a nap. I can get right on board the taking a nap train. Somebody came up with an exercise plan I think I could handle. There's this gym in England, and it created this new workout. It's called napper-size. You go to the gym, head into one of the class studios, and then everyone takes a 45-minute nap. You can also do some stretches before or after, but I'm guessing those are optional. The gym says the class, quote, reinvigorates the mind, improves moods, and even burns the odd calorie. Napper-size. Check it out.
Nope.
I am. Noper-size? I am so down.
I'll nappersize
I don't know
tonight.
if you want. You're going to nappersize tonight?
Probably. I'm going to try. I'm going to try really hard to nappersize.
So you're in this RV. Can you sleep in an RV?
No, tonight I'm in a hotel. But
yeah, but like during the day, have you
Yes,
nappersized in the RV?
No, we've slept several nights in the RV already. You know,
Yeah?
the wilderness of the California desert is vast, and sometimes we don't make it to the hotel. So, yeah, we're staying in the middle of nowhere in this RV. It sleeps 4. It says it sleeps 8, but there's no way.
Right. So where you have a bunk? Where's your bunk?
Oh no, mine's the breakfast nook. The table turns into a flat surface that becomes like a 3/4 of a bed.
Oh.
So I have to be the.
So who gets the back lounge? Like the real.
Oh, the runner guy, of course.
That makes sense. What about the other runner guy? Because there's 2 runner guys.
Runner guy number 2 gets the the TV couch thing that turns into a big old bed.
Okay.
I get the breakfast nook that turns into a bed, and then the driver cook gets the mattress that comes down from the ceiling bed.
So he sleeps above the sleeping thing?
Above where the
above the
driving are. Yeah.
driver's seat? That used to be when my family went on an RV vacation. That's where I slept.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You want to know how soundly I used to sleep when I was a kid? I slept above the driver's compartment in a sleeping bag and fell out. Didn't even know. Didn't wake up. Woke up on the ground, and my parents were like, "Are you dead?" I was like, "No. What's up?"
Everybody has a story like that. It's crazy.
And they're like, "I'm on the ground. You're on the ground." And I was like, "Huh? I don't remember." Strange. Very odd. So basically, who are you sleeping next to? That's what we're going to find out when we come back.
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KPRC, more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So, Funkhouser, when you sleep in the RV, and the reason I ask you this is because before the band was in a tour bus where we had our own sleeping compartments with a curtain that we could draw, we were in a van. We never, like a lot of bands go van, RV, tour bus. We skipped straight from van to tour bus. But I do remember this one time where we'd been up for like the better part of 48 hours, and we had a show, and it was like noon, and it was like, we have to get some sleep. Well, there's no place to sleep in this van that we're in. There's only one bench that there's not room on the floor for somebody to sleep, and like, we're both going to have to sleep together on this bench. And the guitar player said to me, he's like, well, what if I was like, look, dude, I ain't trying to cuddle. Like, I'm not, I just won't, it's like you very much, and I'm not trying to, come across as homophobic or anything, but I just won't be able to sleep with your hot breath on my neck. And he was like, point well taken, well understood. And I won't be able to sleep with your hot breath on my neck. And I was like, so what do we do? We're Randall's Island, New York City. It's noon. Warped Tour is going on outside our door. Inside this air-conditioned van is our only option for the 40 Winks that we need to go put on a show between, I don't know who the hell booked us between Sick of It All and Vision of Disorder, but that did not go well. We're the chirpy English rap rock group.
Come on.
Oi, how's it going? You suck. But like,
you were the bathroom break.
We literally, we won them over in the end, but literally, like, the moment we hit the first power chord, there was like an army of Sick of It All fans standing by the front barrier giving us the finger. And I think we just played everything a little louder and faster that day, and it started off really rough, but it was a tremendous triumph. But yeah, anyways, like I said, we needed the 40 Winks to go on between like a Vision of Disorder and Sick of It All, and spooning wasn't an option. We just knew we wouldn't be able to get sleep that way. And he's like, what if we sleep sort of head to toe? And that sounds like a good idea. In our sleep-free minds, we thought that would work out, and we're like, stuff that prevents us from getting a the nap that we want is still bumping up against other stuff that's going to prevent us from getting the nap that we want. So just like, I think I was like, you get the sleep. I don't need it. I'm the singer. I'm the kid. Like, whatever. And he was like, thanks, mate, and fell asleep. I was like, hey, you were supposed to offer it to the front man. That's the guy who's got to sell everything. And anyways, but it makes me wonder, in your RV situation, do you have someone sleeping next to you? Like, do you have someone's hot breath on the back of your neck, or are you separated enough?
It's kind of like a line of head, at my feet, there's a head, and at my head, there's a foot. So it's like a line of, we're not next to each other at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we're just, and the big runner guy has his own room, so it's all right. It's spacious. Plus, you push a button, and the thing opens up in the middle, and it turns into a big old house. Bzzz.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you really go off the grid with this thing. It's 58-footer.
That's great. And have you been like Tinder dating your way across small town America? when you wind up in places like Blythe, the last stop before hell, or Arizona, like I think Blythe might actually be purgatory, like that little spot between California and Arizona.
It's funny, you say Blythe too, and I think it's Blythe.
Blythe? Well,
but Blythe, yeah, it is hell. Absolutely. It's going to be 102 tomorrow, and it is May.
Right. Yeah, so where are you? Well, we appear to be at about a block and a half from the sun. So have you been going on small town Tinder dates?
Let me ask you, would you want to meet somebody that's only in town for one day?
So you've been trying to go on small town Tinder dates, and when they find out that you're only in town for a day, they know this relationship is not going anywhere?
I came to the tennis match with a wiffle ball bat. I don't know what I'm doing, how to do it. Yes, it's miserable.
Wait, is this about Tinder dating or about your weird sleeping arrangements with 4 other dudes? Because
no, I mean, I'm trying. I mean, I'll tell you, there is a definite change of Tinder person from California to Arizona.
Yeah?
There's a lot more single parents.
Oh?
There seems to be. And tattoos, I think.
Interesting sociological study for you to make your way across America, failing to get Tinder dates.
Completely failing, miserably.
I thought, like, you sent me that screenshot of the conversation you've been having with that girl. That seemed promising. What happened to that?
Oh, she used to check in every day, but, like, if, I knew she was going to hang around for 3 months. Come on.
Oh, wait. So okay.
Every morning, how's it going? Every morning, blink, how's it going? And I send her a picture or two. Hey, we're here, we're there. Eventually.
But were you ever in the same town together?
No, not yet.
Oh, right. Gotcha. I understand. Okay. Are you making your way to her?
No, she's in the dust, man. She's way back there.
No.
That's why I'm like, well, you want to be pen pals? We'll see you in August.
It's too bad. She seemed nice and funny.
Well, maybe
based
she'll
on the
come
one
back
screenshot of a conversation that you sent me, she seemed okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Shall we do some news, Funkhouser? Do we have any time left in the show?
Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Got a lot of news, man.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on here. This is a hotel version.
Amazing. You never know the difference.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, except
so
you just,
quick on those buttons.
Your button's in a slightly different place.
Jerry Seinfeld
said the guy sleeping next to you. I would really require privacy if I was going to do that sort of thing that you're doing there. Okay, go on. What?
Jerry Seinfeld turned 63 this week.
Oh, yeah. Happy
it.
birthday. Happy birthday, Jerry Seinfeld.
I think he's your real father.
I love Jerry Seinfeld. I can't, with this new studio setup, I can't play audio, can I?
We're going to fix that.
Can you play audio?
No. I am already.
What? Oh.
I need another cell phone to play on.
Well, I really want to play the Jerry Seinfeld birthday thing.
Try.
Well, it's not going to work.
Oh, yeah, because you'll send it. Yeah,
I'll send it, and it'll be sent back.
Can
Sorry.
you just do it tomorrow?
Hold on.
It's going to work
Let's try
tomorrow.
this.
Okay, good luck.
All right.
I mean, would it kill you not to be so funny all the time? That's all I'm asking. This woman thinks I'm very funny, and now you're going to be funny, so what am I going to be? I'm gonna be a short, bald guy with glasses who suddenly doesn't seem so funny.
This is so ridiculous. Can we just go over there?
Look,
Come on.
I don't have to be funny. I don't care.
You don't?
No way. It's completely under my control.
No, it's not. You cannot not be funny.
Of course I can. Am I being funny now?
A little.
Okay, just funny? I'm being funny?
Yeah.
George, is this funny?
It's funny. And it wouldn't kill you to not be so funny either. Hi.
Wait for it.
Hello. Welcome back.
Sorry, it was my aunt's birthday. She makes such a big deal about it.
Well, nobody likes to get old, right?
Well, birthdays are merely symbolic of how another year has gone by and how little we've grown. No matter how desperate we are that someday a better self will emerge, each flicker of the candles on the cake we know it's not to be. But for the rest of our sad, wretched, pathetic lives, this is who we are to the bitter end. Inevitably, irrevocably. Happy birthday. No such thing.
Funny guy, huh?
Absolute genius.
Yes.
Did that work, Funkhouser?
It did. Yay. Good for you.
Yeah.
You made
Our
it.
radio magic.
It happened.
Yep.
And then you died. Great.
There's walking pneumonia part. But yeah,
That was a great
happy birthday to...
That was a great last thing you did. For your
Yeah,
life
thank you.
before you died.
Yeah. Played Jerry Seinfeld on the radio. What's your lasting mark that you left? Well, I played Jerry Seinfeld. Really, I'm just here to alert the world to other people's brilliance. Jerry Seinfeld is 63 now. His new act is awesome. What is the deal with the Grim Reaper? Why is he always so grim? What's he reaping? He's got the best job security in the world. He's always meeting new people. Why so grim? Anyways,
Why so grim?
I can't do a Seinfeld at all.
Why?
You know, I still
all
think
in
my
your nose,
walk-in's
man.
good. Look, you don't do a good Seinfeld either.
Of course
I know
not.
one.
I don't know good anybody.
Oh, no. You don't do a good Seinfeld. See? Hey.
The silence leading up to it is my favorite part.
Yeah. Like,
Uh-oh, he's
setting
going to
the
do
tone.
something.
Yeah, he's got to do something. And the amount of anticipation leading up to it will guarantee no matter how good it is, it'll be a letdown. All right, what else?
Bill Cosby says he's blind.
Oh, no. Not blind. What a stupid ploy. Sorry. Once you start walking, you can't stop.
You're going to have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's really not good. I wish, I never thought I could do. See, this all just comes from the fact that I've never been able to do voices. I've never tried to do voices. Never really made it my thing to do voices. Never had an aptitude for voices or impressions. But I did that walk-in on the radio once, and I got all these people going dude, your walk-in's really good. And ever since then, I've been trying to perfect my walk-in, and the more I practice my walk-in, the worse it gets. But for one teeny, I don't ask for much. I just be able to do one voice well. But I can't. I can do Donald Duck, but I can only do Donald Duck sneezing. I can't say actual words, except
You just have to work harder on it.
Yeah,
Practice makes perfect, right?
I've been working on my Donald Duck since about the 5th grade, so I think that's as good as it's ever getting.
Just keep up with the pneumonia.
Right. Yeah.
Then the Christopher Walken will happen.
Oh. But wait, Bill Cosby says that is a stupid ploy. He should have claimed to be deaf, so he could have said, Your Honor, I never heard him say no. What the hell? And a lot of people are saying he's saying that he's blind in an attempt to gain sympathy, and you can't be a rapist and be blind. Well, he hasn't been blind his whole life. Oh, it's sad. It's a really sad situation. It's a really sad situation to see. Look, and who knows? We weren't there. We don't know. But where there's that much smoke, you have to assume that there's a little bit of fire at least, and that's the creepiest fire going, man. That is disgusting. The idea that he would drug women and do stuff to them physically that they didn't know was being done to them, if that is even a little bit true. And then to see his, daughter step up for him the way she did a little while ago, being like, I know he had affairs, but my mother and my dad worked it out. He's not a rapist. Like, it's just, you don't, such a horrible position for the family to be put in. Go on.
Paul McCartney's announced his new tour dates from 2017.
Oh, yeah. Paul McCartney's hitting the road again. Boston is on the list I see here. Atlanta, New York, L.A. Oh, and eventually heaven. Go on.
Oh, that is
it is cool, and I'll tell you why. I don't know how old Paul McCartney is now, but he's
I'm an old man now.
Past his 70s. He's in his 70s, right? Right?
Oh, yeah. Must be. I don't know for sure, but must be.
He's 74 years old. 74. And he's still out kicking ass, taking names. And he knows what he means to people, and he's very comfortable with that. He knows he's an absolute legend. He knows people get happy just at the sight of him. Hearing even a note of his music makes people happy. And you know what? He's going to do that till the very day he goes out. And God bless him for it. It's a wonderful way to spend the rest of your life. Doing what makes you happy and what makes the world happy. Good for him.